UBA, Africa's global bank.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television. Cancer, one of the world's deadliest diseases, is on the increase around the world. In countries such as Nigeria, cancer's deadly footprint is also expanding. Now, to fight this disease, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has joined the battle, ready to provide its platform to the market community. To talk more about this is Bola Adeeko, Head Corporate Services at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Bola, good morning. It's a pleasure to have you on the program this morning.
Thank you, Harry.
So let's talk about the role of the NSE as a platform, as it were, for specialized incentives such as cancer awareness challenge among the gentlemen of the Central Business District.
Thank you again for having me on the program this morning to talk about this very important initiative. If you phrasing your question about this being just for gentlemen as a way of trying to get out of running, you're not going to succeed at that.
Why? You say you're going to be there.
You will have to be there. I mean, China certainly is one of the media partners, so we hope that you guys field a team as well. Let me start by giving some context for why this initiative is important enough that the Nigerian Stock Exchange has decided to participate in an active role. About 2 years ago, we signed up with the CECP, which is the Community Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy organization, to look for ways where we, under the umbrella of our corporate service responsibility program, affect the community in which we operate positively. So one of the things that we identified is, if you go back to 2010 study that WHO released, cancer actually became officially the #1 killer worldwide. One of the sobering news that also came out of this study is that Nigeria actually has one of the worst, if not actually the worst mortality rate when it comes to people that actually get cancer and the survival rate. I think it's about 4 out of 5 people that are diagnosed actually die. So there's some stats that really made it imperative for us from the exchange to sort of rally behind it. So we thought, we're all about promoting well-being for not just our employees, but also for the ecosystem that we operate in, which in this case is the capital market. So we decided to come up with a fun, exciting program, which is to have a corporate challenge race, which primarily started off last year in May with listed companies. There's about 200 of them, and about 300 stockbroking firms that operate on the exchange. To say, for every one of you, you should field teams, and for a 5K run, which actually started at Onikon Stadium and ended back at Onikon or Marina, on a Saturday morning, starting early, to kind of get the competitive juices running and also obviously try to stay fit at the same time. But have as the underlying platform the drive to create a lot more awareness around cancer and the different forms that it represents itself, and also to help to raise funds for it. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes. I mentioned the fact that it's for the gentlemen of the Central Business District, and you try to get out of it, but you haven't told me, or told us rather, if it's gender specific. Is it just for the male community of the market community, or it cuts across all the gender?
Thanks for calling me out on that again. It's actually it's very gender neutral. So certainly we encourage men and women to participate. And interestingly enough, when we did it last year, we did set aside some awards to recognize women as well that ran. And we had very good turnout, especially given that last year was the first time we had this. We had over 400 participants. which represent about 60 organizations within Nigeria.
Well, looking at the organizations, did you have, so because we have a couple of, those health companies listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, were they, fully participatory in this event as well? And for this one now that you're going to be organizing.
Yes. There were a number of them that not only participated, but also even provided support in terms of the products that we're giving out at this event. And we expect that to be the same this year. And even though we had 60 organizations that participated last year, we've actually set a very higher goal to have a lot more of them. I mean, I gave you numbers earlier on that we had 200 listed companies and 300 stockbroking firms. The expectation is that we certainly should see, if not all of them, but at least a good majority of them participate this year. It's going to be fun.
I'm sure it will be. But why is the NSE interested? Why is the NSE, trying to get involved in this kind of cause?
We get involved because about 2.5 years ago we launched a formal corporate social responsibility program. That as one of the pillars, there's something there about community, workplace, the environment that we operate in, and the marketplace. And for community, certainly the well-being of the people that live in the community that we operate in is very important, which by extension includes the staff of the exchange. And so while we've done certain things within the exchange, just for instance, we opened up an activity center last year that has a gym in there. So it's to try and encourage our staff to make sure that...
How often do staff use those facilities?
It's actually used quite often. We have a full-time trainer that's there each day in the morning, some hours in the early part of the morning, that helps them in terms of the workout, as well as after work. If you've had a very long day, you need to punch a punching bag, we have one in there for you to use. But also we have a cafeteria there that we, as we went through the process of selecting the vendors that will be serving food there, we emphasized that we wanted to have healthy choices for our staff. Additionally, we've had over the years health clinics where we bring in medical experts to do screening for diabetes, for the different forms of heart diseases that are out there. And also extended to the outside community. This past April 7th, when the World Health Day was celebrated, we had a similar clinic where over 150 participants, which included some of the staff members as well as outsiders, came to the exchange and they went through medical screenings and also, again, medical advice. So for us, again, I gave some stats earlier about cancer and stuff. There are other diseases, obviously, that we could have gone after, but I think the compelling case for cancer was that if you look at the number of people that are afflicted and the impact that we can make and the sphere of influence that we have given the community that we operate in, we thought it made sense to sort of go after that. Before I forget, it's all about, a good part of this is about having fun and also promoting well-being. But also the underlying reason why we're also doing this is also to raise funds. There is a push by CECP, that's the Community Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy, to get money to buy mobile screening centers for every state in Nigeria. So about 37, including the Federal Capital Territory. And essentially this MCC, if you don't mind me just elaborating a little bit on that, is it's like clinic on wheels. This mobile screening centers essentially would not only allow for access to the rural areas, which right now is one of those areas that are not properly covered when it comes to early detection, but they can actually perform procedures on there. So things like mammography and even some certain procedures as far as surgeries can be.
And it's not just going to be a one-off, because questions with regards to funds that will be raised, apart from the fact that it's going to be mobile clinics. Does the NSE intend to start a trust fund, for instance, for it?
The NSE is not starting a trust fund. The partnership that we have at CECP... Or
launch one for it.
Yes, so the partnership that we have at CECP has a framework where the funds that we collect from this from these forums will be donated to a particular account, which will be definitely managed with all the transparency that's required of it. And then we've selected the National Cancer Prevention Program unit to actually run this going forward. So once we buy this mobile screening units, obviously it's still relying on the foreign company that will be supplying this MCCs to do the proper maintenance. Because one of the problems that we always have with these things is that you buy it and then the next thing you know, about 6 months later on, they go into disrepair, is to ensure that it's properly maintained. But the amount of money that's required to purchase each one of these things is so huge that, all hands have to be on deck to be able to make this a reality.
In terms of making it a reality, what specific actions is the exchange, taking to encourage NSE staffers and the traders community to support this initiative?
So I'm sure you'll find out that I'm very bullish about this. So,
Not bullish.
I've been very, not myself only, but the team at the exchange, as well as CECP, have been very aggressive in terms of reaching out. And that's why, even though this event itself, which I remiss to have actually given some details on when the event is and some modalities around it, is going to happen in May 16th, which is Saturday, 7 a.m. in the morning. So the reason why we're coming out this early to talk about it, which is going to continue over the next couple of weeks, is to increase the level of awareness and also to get a lot more commitment. I think I should use this opportunity also to acknowledge some of the early partners that have actually raised their hand and given commitment, significant commitment towards this. Diamond Bank been one of them, Lafarge, Guinness.
Basically, companies listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Absolutely. But I also need to point out that while it's primarily targeted towards listed companies and stockbroking firms, we're not excluding all the organizations that may have an interest to sponsor.
I was going to ask, not in terms of sponsorship now, I was going to ask, is it just limited to the market community, or can anybody within the business district around Customs Street participate in this walk as well?
Primarily, we're trying to sort of limit it to the constituency that I just mentioned, so the listed companies as well as the dealing member firms. But to the extent that we have organizations, and we had that last year, we had a few organizations that reached out to us and say, we have an interest in participating. So we're not going to turn anyone down, so let me put it to you that way. But I think it's just trying to manage overall logistics around the race itself, and also giving the opportunity for people that come there to do some form of networking as well. We thought we'll focus on those two communities for now.
So what if it's not organizations? What if it's an individual who is very passionate about this cause, about this walk, about this event, and wants to be part of it? And, the person walks up to you and say, hey guys, I want to be part of this event as well. Could you, let me in? Not necessarily because I want to network, but because I feel very passionate about the cause from the NSE and other partners as well.
We would consider that person.
Well, Bola, thank you so much for coming on the program this morning. It was an interesting conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Bola Adeeko, Head of Corporate Services at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, just sharing his thoughts with us on the event Walk for Cancer. But there's more to come on the show. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has capped overseas spending via ATMs at $50,000. We'll talk about that after the break.